You are now listening to another edition of B30 Back in Your Life. We're about to discuss all things educational and biblical in value for 30 minutes or less. I swear, I love this background music.
I can't believe I'm on this.
So, before you're wondering, hey, who is that voice in the background? Say, kind gentleman, may you identify yourself?
No, I may not. I'm still debating if I should be on this or not right now. Second guessing myself.
That's not a bad thing. The important thing is this is a rare and a real treat because it is, without further delay, a 2 guys, 1 mic session. Yes, if you're wondering, we have been drinking.
Okay, that's out in the open. Okay, we got that cleared out.
Relax, we just sipping. You know, kind
just
of
for the last 4 hours.
No. Let's just put it this way. If you have a meal, you have appetizer, main course, dessert. Instead of dessert, we substituted a liquid form of dessert instead.
So is aperitif too.
Right. Let's just say our dessert is in the form of a liquid. Let's just say it's an apple cider with a splash or
2
of
spiced
rum, which we will not mention the brand because we're not being sponsored. Anyways, enough small talk.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah,
get sponsored.
That would be great. Anyways, to this session, it's going to be a big one. Here it is. Do non-Christian friends corrupt your morals and disrupt your spiritual development? So, before I let my unnamed, anonymous associate just tear a new one on this topic, let me just give some backdrop to why people think that non-Christian friends, disrupt your spiritual development and corrupt your morals and make you a bad boy or girl. So here's the pre-existing belief. Okay, here's the claim. Okay, basically it's, Christians, when they're young and impressionable, they're basically susceptible and corruptible by friends who aren't Christians. You're gonna become like those you hang out with, be friends with the right kinds of people. And get this traditional belief even has, scriptural reference. 1 Corinthians 15:33, and I quote, "Bad company corrupts good character." And I repeat, bad company corrupts good character. 1 Corinthians 15:33. So, unnamed associate, what do you think about that kind of traditional view?
Well, I think your little, how would I say, your little voice impersonation and everything, it sums it all out. It just sounds like, I have to agree that, yes, hanging out with the wrong company will affect your attitude. But at the same time, if you need to man up and mature. You can't be in that immature stage the whole life. So therefore, you man up, deal with it. That's the reality of it. And how you portray your voice and everything, it sounds like you're talking to little kids. You can only be a little kid for a little while. That's all I'm saying.
Huh. That is a strong point because I've been reading up on an article written by a quite bright individual by the name of Karen Yates. And that's one of the points she made too when she was talking about, our non-Christian friends' bad company is we tend to blame others or scapegoat people, where basically we blame others for, the things we do, but sometimes it's, we don't get at the root cause of why we go bad, we break bad or make the wrong decisions. Sometimes the corruption comes from within ourselves. So when we're tempted away, maybe it's not really our friend's fault, but it's our own fault. Maybe we don't practice our own spiritual discipline of prayer.
Exactly. Your curiosity takes it over anyway. So it's hard to point fingers and it's hard to argue, right?
Now, what's funny is, that scripture, bad company.
Stop doing that, please.
I don't know why. I don't know why I do that. But basically, bad company corrupts good character. Like, that verse gets taken out of context. But just to be fair, what Paul was talking about in the actual letter was, their church at that time had a lot of people who were trying to change what the gospel was about. So when Paul was saying bad company corrupts good character, it was more of a church doctrine issue. It wasn't about the friends you were making. So, classic, we take things out of context and we use it to support our own views. So just want to clarify that point. He's talking about doctrine. He's not talking about... Because, people back then thought Jesus didn't die or Jesus wasn't fully human. Like, they didn't know who Jesus was, so they didn't know their doctrine. So when Paul said bad company corrupts good character, basically, don't hang out with people who don't really know about Jesus.
You shouldn't be hanging out with me then.
Okay. I think you know Jesus. Boy, you need to know Jesus. Okay.
Okay. You're cut off, and let's keep this dry for the rest of the session here, huh?
For the record.
Yeah, right, that's not happening.
For the record, just for public perception, we are not troubling alcoholics. We are simply enjoying each other's company, discussing topics relevant to our spiritual lives, all the while with a beverage of the adult nature in our hand.
Nicely done. Nicely done.
How's that for a spin? Anyways, so what else? What else do you want to say? Does having non-Christian friends really mess you up spiritually?
Yes and no. It really depends, I think, on your personal relationship in the first place. If you have a strong one, I think it's time. Like, you gotta. It's just like nature. You have to. The bird has to leave the nest someday to spread the word, right? So you can't be babied the whole time. So eventually, you are meant to be out there doing God's work, as for whatever scripture. So. And even in scripture, it realizes that you will face day-to-day of non-Christian. So you can only hide behind that wall of excuse so long. And reality is basically you are introduced to a world that is quite savage, I guess you could say.
Damn, it's almost as if you read the article I read.
See, there you go. You don't need to read anything.
Ms. Karen Yates said the same thing. So, I love how you said the whole nest thing. We're not meant to stay in the nest the whole time, because when a bird grows up, you can't stay a chick forever and stay in the nest. You gotta, make your own nest, fly out. You can't have your mom chewing up the worms and spit in your mouth forever. Because, yeah, that's a good point. Because, here's the thing. Say, okay, you're right. No more non-Christian friends. I'm only going to hang out with Christians and we're going to be good people. Then what you get is this kind of separatist kind of...
You're not growing.
Yeah, but also you're separating yourself from the real world. So, say, for example, no more Christian friends, so I guess you're only...
No more non-Christian friends, you mean.
Right. So you're only going to listen to Christian music, you're only going to go to a Christian school, you're only going to read Christian books, and when you're on Facebook or whatever social media, you're only going to friend or
that's highly impossible.
Or add Christian
friends.
There's
freaking ads on Facebook nowadays that are borderline non-Christian.
Yeah, but if you're this cautious type of Christian, music, school, books, friends.
Don't turn on the TV. Don't listen to anything on the radio.
Exactly. You're going to be that type of person that just zeroes in on your own subculture.
Welcome to Daniel's life. I'm joking.
What? Look, my point is, you're going to cut yourself off. You're going to have no idea what the outside world's going to, what's up with the outside world, basically. So you're cut off in your own little world. So I love how you said, the bird eventually leaves the nest. So, yeah. So don't scapegoat. Don't blame others.
So, yeah. Sounds
And
good.
If you take this too literally, you cut yourself off from non-Christian friends, you're going to, be off in your own little bubble, and you won't outreach anybody, period. So, 2 fabulous points. Why?
And that's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
Short and sweet. Yeah, guest likes that maybe, just 5 minutes. How long is it? Like 3 minutes, not even?
Let me check the clock here. We're almost closing in at 11 minutes.
Oh, well, we're too long already. Hey.
Okay. Well, I originally planned 4 points, but...
Sure. Let's just quickly hear them, I guess.
Okay. Well, they're not my points, but just certain points that I picked up on when I read an article by Karen Yates. But this whole, don't be friends with non-Christians. I'm just going to throw this question out there. Is that what Jesus would have done? Because all I'm saying is, when Jesus was on earth, yeah, he hung out with a circle of friends, his little fisherman buddies, his disciples, but he also...
None of them were Christian in the first place.
Okay.
He made them, and he taught them the way. Then he became Christians.
Okay, that's a fair point.
So they start out to be... I'm not saying you're Jesus, whoever's listening, and go pick whatever, but I'm just saying is he put himself in a spot of surroundings of non-Christians and bringing up Christians.
Yeah.
That's the footsteps that we're told to do.
That's a good point. So I guess this is the key question is, say you decide to cut all ties with your non-Christian friends, but here's the question. Did I lose their influence on me in terms of, okay, they're not going to influence me to do bad. That's a good thing. That's why we're cut off from them. But at the same time, your non-Christian friends are going to lose your Christian influence. So your little non-Christian clique of friends are now going to...
You're more important than you think you are.
Exactly. Now they don't have...
That's a good point. Yeah.
Now they don't have a moral compass because you have to cut yourself off from them. Now, if they want to go... I don't know what young kids...
Burn down a house?
Yeah, young kids do nowadays. Like, go burn down a house, go rob someone. Now there's no Christian...
Go flip a truck, go flip a car or something.
Tip cows.
Okay, let's keep it clean, huh?
Throw a kegger in a cornfield. I don't know why I'm coming up with, like, stuff in, like, the interior or the rural countryside references. But my point is, okay, you cut yourself off from non-Christians so you keep yourself clean. But now we switch the position. Now they don't have a moral influence. Now they're going to be like, yo, now that Christian so-and-so is not in our group, we can finally cook meth or something. Like, he won't point out the bad side to it because his Christian influence is gone. Huh. Just throwing that out there. If you're so busy trying to stay pure, you lose your pure influence on others. Kind of thing.
Pretty good point.
You agree?
Oh, I totally agree with that. But don't get that, like, up to your head that you're that important.
True. Don't boast.
Don't boast that you are the moral compass of your group that you hang around with. Don't do that. You're going to get your ass kicked pretty good. just pointing something out here.
Yes. So please, be humble and try not to be too bossy or be too judgmental or be too opinionated, because it could backfire in a physical nature that may be harmful to your well-being. But here's the thing, though. Just one last point, I swear, I'll keep it short, is who says that hanging out with Christians is the best option? We think that non-Christians are the only bad company, but Christians can be bad company too. Like, there can be those Christians that just go to church to, I don't know, get that tax-deductible offering thing, or just to go to church because that's the image of a stand-up person. But deep down inside, like, if a homeless, like, say you have your typical guy who goes to church, sits in, listens to the sermon, walks out the door, sees a homeless guy, walks right past him, pretends not to see him. Like, is that that person's Christian, but, was he really exemplary of Jesus' character? Not really. So just because you're Christian doesn't mean you're good company. Just because you're non-Christian doesn't mean you're bad company. So just another point out there. I guess you call those cultural Christians or stuff like that.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, there's a lot of non-Christian that helps out with the community, for example, right?
Yeah.
Soup kitchens and stuff like that. I mean, a lot of them are even declare them as like atheists or whatever. But then they would help out. There's more of those type of people help out
Right.
in the community with the poor and everything than actual claimed Christians.
Right. Like, actually,
That's actually quite sad.
yeah.
I mean, it puts in the position like, well, they had the whole argument of, well, I'm not even Christian and I've done this. What have you
Right.
done? Right?
Yeah, that's strong. I mean, say for example, prostitution. You'll see more sociologists or even social workers who perhaps don't have a certain religious background who would really fight for their rights and look out for them, but as Christians would be like, ew, gross. They're
Yeah, exactly.
prostitutes. Yeah.
I mean, just for example, just something top of my head. When have you heard that your typical church offerings actually go out to the community instead of the church itself?
Oh, snap.
I'm just bringing it up. Like some things I haven't. Maybe I've been interacted with
Fair enough,
few
right.
enough, not enough churches or whatever. But I rarely hear that churches communion will actually reach out to the community rather than its own
Right.
church itself.
Right. So that's, again, part of that, our original point, that just because we're Christians doesn't mean we're good company. I mean, I speak from personal experience. Say I go to a church and I go offer and they give you an offering envelope. There's a label that says General Building Fund and Missions Fund.
That's it.
So there's no other way to allocate your funds to help your local community who needs help. So once again, there are some flaws. Just because something is Christian doesn't mean it's a good company. At the same time, we're not trying to demonize Christians, that we're all bad people.
No.
It's just saying we're not perfect, and just because the label Christian is not attached to a person doesn't mean they're not good people. Yeah, I agree.
Very tough topic here.
But we've done pretty good so far. We've made 4 points. I mean, Jesus didn't cut himself off from non-Christians. Number 2, we tend to blame people for our own mess-ups, which is blame non-Christians when maybe it's our own fault for stumbling. 3, Christians aren't always good company like we think they are. And is there a 4th point? I said there was 4, right? Oh, the separatist thing. When we cut ourselves off, like, we totally defeat the whole purpose of being here, and that is to outreach to people, but we're too busy kind of
Take care of ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, 4 points. Don't be separatists. What Jesus would have done. Don't blame others. Just because they're Christians doesn't mean they're good company. They could be, I don't know. You never know. Wow.
I don't want to use that word, but anyway.
Wow, that really took a really dark turn. So maybe we should start wrapping this up.
It is not looking too good for you.
Yeah. So my treasured acquaintance / associate in this 2 guys 1 mic session, is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, but yeah, like you said, it turned pretty dark pretty quick. So I'm good. I made my points.
Yes. Well said. So, without any further delay, please remember those 4 points I just mentioned earlier. And thanks for listening. And goodbye.